Welcome, everybody, to the U16 pod. I'm Ryan MacArthur.
And I'm Connor Williams. And on the last episode of the U16 pod, we had three great interviews. One with forward Quinn Lyle from the Mississauga Sens, one with forward Tate Bader from the Huron-Perth Lakers, and one with Callum Chinowski, defenseman from the Southern Tier Admirals. Three outstanding interviews with three tremendous players as well. Once again, can't thank those players enough for hopping on the pod and taking the time to join us on the pod here. Really appreciate them taking the time. But in addition to those three great interviews, we also did a little recap and review of the tremendous event that was put on by the GTHL in partnership with Under Armour in the GTHL Top Prospects game. Some great performances by some great players in that game. But after that performance, leading into this episode here, Ryan, we got three players who participated in that game with three tremendous interviews for this episode of three players who partook in the GTHL Top Prospects game. We got forward Jack Van Volsen from the Toronto Junior Canadiens. We got Justin Huynh from the Mississauga Sens, and we got Rowan Topp, defenseman from the North York Rangers as well. Three tremendous players.
What a lineup, man. What a lineup for this one, eh?
Oh, tremendous
awesome
players. Tremendous performances from each of them in the Top Prospects game as well. Along with just to go hand in hand with the tremendous seasons that each of them have had this year for their respective teams as well. So really excited for everyone to see these interviews. Three tremendous conversations with these players. It was fun getting their insights and getting to learn about their game from them, as well as kind of getting to know them off the ice as well, as we love that part so much as well. So it was tremendous getting to talk to those guys. So stay tuned for more as we get here later in this episode to watch those interviews with those players with that regard. But as we get going here, like we usually do, we got the chance to attend various games. It was a fun past sort of weekend / week for both of us here. We were able to kind of split some time. I got to attend the Westwood kind of GTHL showcase that went on with all the various games. Kind of four primary games that I watched, 4 or 5 primary games there, along with several other games this past week aside from the GTHL. But you took you went the distance this past week and took full advantage of the mileage there, put some mileage on the car, and you took a trip to Ottawa. And I think it'd be fitting to start with that trip to Ottawa there, Ryan. And you got Ottawa and got a hit on Waxers and Queen on the way back. So I'll let you take the floor here and start off with that.
Yeah, thanks, Connor. Yeah, it was fun. I got down to Ottawa, long trip there from Burlington. It's I don't know, we got down there pretty quick, but then on the way back it was a little longer. It just kind of, it's a long ways, and it was tiring. I remember Monday I was just exhausted after the weekend I had, but part of it had to do, I went and ripped up and down the Rideau Canal a couple times there, and it was a lot of fun. Like that, I've never done that before. It's just so much fun, and it's way bigger than I thought it was. Like there's a lot of people there, and for good reason. It's a lot of fun. So my wife and I had a great time doing that. But the beaver tails, yeah, they've got like 5 of them, like 5 setups for beaver tails. Literally, like every 2 checkpoints, there's a beaver tail stand. So they could wolf down a few of those, right? That was good. But yeah, I probably should have just had one, but I'll admit I had it was good. But yeah, I really just kind of ended up down there for the hockey. So it was HEO started the U18 playoffs there, and saw some good games. Like it was really fun to get down there. The first game I saw was the Nepean Raiders against Carleton Place. So that was a great game. Nepean won that one 6-2. A big standout from that game is Jaden Cholette, the goalie. I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4", big, really, really good goalie. Like when he stands up straight, the bottom of his numbers like actually clears the crossbar. So he's really big. He's got that size that OHL teams are gonna be looking for. Or I mean, they're not always looking for the guys that are big, but like that's going to definitely be something working in his favor for the draft. And yeah, he had a really good game, let in a couple goals, just a couple. So he's kind of continued that great season he's had. And another player that really stood out was Cole Baudouin. Unbelievable game. I think he had 4 or 5 points. He was just kind of all over the score sheet. Got an assist like 18 seconds into the game, ripping up and down the ice there, and really high end talent. That like that. The big thing about him is the finishing ability around the net. It's really, really high end, really, really good stuff. So really kind of enjoyed, getting a live look at him uh, in person because, yeah, like it's a lot different. Like we watch a lot of these Ottawa games on video, but seeing them in person, it's just kind of like, yeah, you just kind of can see the details in his game and just the skill, I think, is the big thing, his hands. And he's also got good size and is really physical. So yeah, and along with in the Pean Raiders players that stood out, also on Carleton Place, Cat and Ryan, center was really good. Like moves well, good hands, good on faceoffs. Just kind of a good overall player. I think he's a prospect for the OHL that's gonna kind of turn some heads and get some attention. He's a pretty good player. So that was a good first game. And then the next game I saw was Kemptville and Renfrew. So the Renfrew Wolves won that one 6-3 over the 73s there. And yeah, a big standout in that game from Renfrew was Dean Letourneau. Tall forward, really, really good skater, good stride length, good power, and great hands. He got a really, really nice goal. Highlight reel goal, and was dominant in the game. He was physical, kind of good in all zones, like just able to kind of move around that ice with that big body and kind of have his presence felt on every shift. He was really, really good. Like even though Kemptville didn't win the game, I got a few guys from Kemptville that stood out for me. First of all, friend of the pod, Rory Gilmore, defenseman. He's really good. He's sharp. Um, like we mentioned in that interview, like check that episode out where we had Rory on. Like he's a smaller defenseman, but he plays bigger. Like he gets after guys, hits, little bit of like he likes to chirp and get like kind of get the stick in there, do some stick work on guys. So I like that kind of stuff and really aggressive. The thing about him is just his puck moving ability and ability to get it out of the zone and kind of facilitate the breakout. Like he'll skate up with it, basically take whatever the other team will give him. Like he'll keep skating. Like there was times where he made it all the way to the offensive zone and then kind of made a play and passed it off. But kind of does that thing where he draws the defenders in. Like he has his head up. He's kind of aware of the ice, really good spatial awareness of what's going on in front of him, and able to make those excellent breakout passes. And he's not that guy that's just going to whip it around the boards and have the wingers deal with it with all kinds of pressure. Like he's going to really help them out, like with those breakouts and get that puck moving up ice. And that ability, the ability to see the ice and also make those nice passes with the timing and precision and weight on those passes is money. So I really like Rory Gilmore, really, really good player. Also good power play quarterback, really good at facilitating and kind of getting shots through and doing all those things. Like walks just inside the offensive blue line really smoothly, great feet, great overall player. Like it was really, really a lot of fun to finally catch him in person. And a couple more from Kemptville. Wyatt Warner stood out, a forward. He's really quick, got good speed, and he was doing good things for them. And also Owen Redmond, also a really good skater, really highly skilled forward. I think those two are going to get some attention on draft day. And then, like, kind of moving to an aside, I would have been remiss if I didn't sneak over during the flood of one of the games to catch Navin and Nathan Villeneuve and Ben Cormier. So I caught a few shifts of them. Like I was kind of there on kind of official business for work, so I wasn't able to catch their full game. But yeah, man, that was unreal. Like just kind of those few shifts I saw of them. It's nice to see them in person, right? We watch a lot of video of these guys and to see them and how they move, like just the skating, the speed, it really stands out on the ice. And Ben Cormier got a nice goal. Kind of stepped in there and ripped one low, really, really kind of high end finish. And Villeneuve was, doing his thing, running around, like getting hits. And Billy's an animal out there. I love watching him play. So it's great to kind of see those few shifts of those guys. And then, kind of the next day on the way back, I was able to kind of get through the Quinte area and see Quinte Markham. So top two teams in the ETA, huge matchup at CAA Arena, which is a gorgeous arena. I've been there a couple times now. I went there for our first ever episode of the pod. I went down there and met with the Quinte guys in episode 1 of season 1, but got down there again for this one, which is a big tilt with Markham. And to start with Markham, I mean, Nate Gillis had an unreal game, shut out Quinte in that 2-0 win for Markham. Really, really good, like, overall game. Like, he was moving well in the crease, kind of lateral movement was excellent, and kind of just cutting off those angles. Like, the Quinte guys were missing the net a lot, and I think a lot of it had to do with Gillis and his positioning. Really, really good. He was aggressive, kind of got out there to, like, he plays quite a bit out of the net, but it serves him well. Like, he cuts off the angle really, really effectively, and he's got the quickness to be able to get back in the net if they try to make a move around him. So he looked really good. He was shining in that game. Like, that, there was a lot of scouts there at that game. I honestly, I don't know if I've seen as many scouts at that game as any other game this year, but there was a ton of scouts at CA Arena, and he did well for himself there. And just kind of going through Markham here, I mean, I really like Nathan Aspinall. He's a great player. He's tall, lanky. Like, I think once he fills out a bit, that he's going to be like a big time player at the junior level, at the next level. Really nice curl and drag release on the shot. I like how he does that kind of in front of the defenseman and then uses the defenseman as a screen. There's a couple that he just missed the net, just barely, and a couple that got blocked. But on those 4 shot attempts, like, I really liked what I saw there in terms of that shot release, the quickness of it, how pure it was. And I know his skills coach has worked a lot with him on that, as someone that I talked to, and they've done good work. Like, I think he's going to be a really, really good prospect. So yeah, moving over to the that's all I really got from Markham. I felt like it was a good game. Oh, Frankie Morelli, sorry. Frankie Morelli was unbelievable. Massive hits. Like, every time I see Morelli, he gets huge hits. So he was great. And he's kind of that, I mean, like I mentioned before with Rory Gilmore, that elite puck moving D. Like, Morelli, I'd be shocked if he comes out of if he's not available. I'd be shocked if he's available in the second round. I think he's going to go in the first round. Really, really good player. Like, great with the puck. Really, really powerful shot. Really, really good player. And then moving over to the Quinte side, Mike McIver had a good game despite the 2 goals. They're 2 pretty nice goals. I mean, Braden Rogers, Ben Danford, I don't know, they're arguably the top D pair in ETA AAA. They were strong. Ethan Toms had a good game. Liam Phillip had a really good game, couple massive hits. So he was strong, and Thomas Kuipers looked good as well. And then jumping to the next game, I got down to St. Andrews, and I was exhausted at this point in the weekend, but I pushed through and got down there, put the extra clicks on the car, and saw York Simcoe's 5-0 win over North Central. So that was a really good game. Like, Daniel Vasic got 2 unbelievable snipes. He had a great game. Also, kind of behind the back pass to Cole Davis, who had a nice finish in front of the net. Like, Cole Davis always plays well when I see him. Really physical, really, really good player that skates well with a lot of skill. And then on the North Central side, Ethan Procession had a great game. I mean, didn't get on the score sheet in the 5-0 loss, but I mean, he hit the post, created a lot of chances, kind of buzzing around offensively, doing his thing. He had a good game. And Nathan Schaap on defense, like, he's a big, mean defenseman. And yeah, like, he's kind of good, like, mucking it up in the corners, like, just kind of laying the body, being physical, hacking guys, being mean. Like, I think he's got a lot of potential at the next level, because OHL teams always need those D that are tough below the dots and tough to deal with and make life literally hell for the the opposing team and their forwards trying to work the cycle. Like, he just leaning on guys and making things difficult. So yeah, I think that about covers it. I'm kind of out of breath here, but it kind of covers my weekend there.
No, it was busy weekend for you. Lots of mileage on the car, and definitely a busy, tiring weekend for you. But lots of hockey with that regard, and great kind of viewings of Ottawa all the way back to Greater Toronto area and York Simcoe there. So phenomenal job by you there. It was great to see, and great job by you on your part there to really get out to that and really put in the work for that. And then on my end here, I got the chance, like I mentioned earlier, just to go to hit up Westwood. They had another GTHL kind of showcase, like all the teams, a lot of the teams at Westwood this weekend, and started bright and early at 10:30 in the morning. JRC versus Thunder Bay, early game. JRC did carry most of the play in this game, but a player that did stand out to me on Thunder Bay was number 8, Bertolin, a smaller player, but he did show some skill, shows high work ethic, was really driving. A player who was constantly moving his feet, getting after it, putting pressure on the JRC. Really creating chances, and really was an impactful player I found for Thunder Bay in the game as well. But the JRC really just showed why they are one of the best teams. They really it was a tight game for a while there, and then they kind of just took over and really started to put the puck in the net once it started going there. I mean, it started off for me. Michael Hag looked phenomenal again. He scored an unreal goal, just pulling out of the corner and then weaving through the traffic, slicing through the D, and then just ripping one top shelf on the goalie. He was looking great, doing his thing. Jacob Battaglia has been really good. He's been developing through the season, been constantly rising and improving his play and just getting better and better. And he had another great game on Saturday. And then Henry Muse, one of the top defensemen in the draft, he really had an unbelievable game. Really just showed off that offensive prowess he has and the mobility he plays with. Unbelievable rush, kind of showing off those slick mitts and just ripping one on the goalie as well. But he had a great game. And then that line, I mean, we're going to talk about it a bit later when we play the Jack Van Volsen interview here. But that line of Van Volsen, Tersini, and Martel, and those three were just phenomenal. Creating Antonio Tersini had a hat trick in the game. Really, for me, Antonio Tersini really showed his ability to kind of, in previous games, he's been able to show that quick shot and that shot from distance and beat goalies. Right here, he was able to really show that ability to find that soft space, find that little open space, present your stick, and get on that pucks in and around that net front area, around the crease there. He really potted. All his goals came really in tight to the goalie there in around the crease. So he had a phenomenal game, potting the hat trick. But that line was phenomenal with Van Volsen, Tersini, and Martone again. Cristoforo and Femus on defense also had a great game as well, I'd say, for the JRC there. Just a tremendous performance, and they got better as the game went on against Thunder Bay. So that one finished in an 8-1 win for the JRC in that regard. But JRC obviously kept doing their thing, and they just took over the number one spot back in the recent OHL Cup ranking. So obviously JRC still a team to beat and team to watch out for this season, as they're always dominant when they come to play. So it was a great game. All those players had a tremendous game. But the next game after the JRC and Thunder Bay, Vaughan versus the Rebels. Vaughan really carried the play. I found they really tended to carry the play, carry some of the offensive play. It's great to see Vaughan. Haven't been able to see Vaughan in a fair bit, but a lot of the Vaughan players played really good. And a consistent theme we see with a lot of Vaughan teams is just a high work ethic, great structure, great system. They all know their roles and they play it really well. And I was again watching them play against the Rebels. It was a tight game. Rebels struck first, the first goal of the game, but Vaughan came back and scored 3 unanswered, and then Rebels scored 1 late for a 3-2 win for Vaughan. But Sam O'Reilly really stood out for me in that game. Really showed off his kind of awareness, his hockey IQ. Really showed off some passing ability. I've seen his shot before in that great release he has, but I really saw that passing ability really shine through in that game. Really finding lanes and hitting those passes on the point, and really just little things with his awareness and little subtle IQ plays that he was making with the puck there. It was really impressive from Sam O'Reilly there. And then centerman, Caden Petra, number 11 there. Really great two-way center, a hard-working player, powerful, long stride on him. Really just hunting down players on the back check and playing a really strong physical game, making sure that they know whenever he's coming in on the forecheck, he's finishing the checks, or if he's back on the back check, he's separating man from puck with the body and physicality there. So he had a really strong performance. Justin Tavares, number 91, great performance. A standout player for me watching him. He's just one of the hardest workers on the ice. His feet do not stop moving when he's coming, and he had several really high quality scoring chances just off the fact that he was just moving his feet, putting himself in good spots in transition, and just a couple times he couldn't finish and goalie made a great save, but he was really a standout performer in that game with just the work ethic, and his ability to move and find open space as well in that game. And then another player, number 17, Paulo Ferri. Smaller player, but my gosh, this kid's feisty. This kid's got the tenacity. He's just a great player. Like once he gets going, gets those feet moving. You better watch out because he's coming after you. And if you're bigger than him, that's not going to stop him because he just kept going. You mentioned it earlier when talking about Rory Gilmore, how he plays bigger than he is. That's
Yeah.
just this play right here. And Rory Gilmore, you mentioned how Rory kind of chirps, and he kind of got that chirping going. Paulo Ferri has got the voice too, and he's going to let you know that he's there, and he can back it up. He can talk the talk, and he can walk the walk, I'd say. And he had a great game as well. I'd also say Gabriel Carvalho as well in defense. He was really poised at the back end, really calming presence for Vaughan. Ability to move the puck up ice was shown, and he could rush the puck up ice, carrying the puck, but while also making these really strong first passes out of the D zone as well as jumping up, making some pinches and activating on offensively in the offensive zone for Vaughan there. And then friend of the pod as well, Logan Sawyer. Really noticed some things with him that was really impressive. He was playing on the PK, moving into good spots. He was really getting a lot of offensive chances and creating a lot for his team. And you could really see the lacrosse player in him too, with the way he moves and the way he handles the puck too, which is that multi-sport athlete in him. So it was great to see Logan Sawyer again from Vaughan there. But Vaughan really came to play, and they kind of carried a lot of the play for the Rebels. I want to give credit to the goaltender Tescalar. I apologize if I pronounced this correctly. I believe Tescalar started, and he had a really strong game for the Rebels. Really made some big time saves for them, the goalie for the Rebels. So shout out him for a great game. And then another game we got to see, Sens versus Majors. This was kind of the big one for the day, the really big time matchup of a couple top 10 teams within the OHL Cup rankings and within U16 hockey here. They played to a 3-3 tie, but Majors, man, they came out flying. They came out with energy, and they really took it to the Sens to start. The Sens have got a bit of injuries. William Eglinton's out with an injury. Quinn and Lyle wasn't playing in that game. Lucas Rodriguez wasn't playing in that game, so they were missing a few guys. But the Majors came out to play, and they came to take care of business. And I want to say, before I get into standouts of the players, I was sitting right behind their bench, kind of where they all walk out. And little cool thing I saw the Majors do is when they read the starting lineup, they read it on the bench, and they said the name and they kicked the boards, and his little name and then hit the boards, and name hit the boards, and it was a cool little thing, get the boys going. And I kind of love that little aspect the Majors do, and that Majors team with the close bond they have, they always bring that energy, and they always brought in. Dang, did they bring the energy in that game? Alex Kostov was a real stand-up performer for me. He opened the scoring with a beautiful tip, just in the high slot there by the hashes off a shot from Zane Perek. But Kostov, he brings the physicality, the energy, kind of power forward with some skill style of game. And he was a standout player for me in that game. Liam Greentree, another great player. He was making his impact felt in that game. Zane Perek, he had a great game. He was really moving the puck up ice, activating. One of his better games I've seen in a big time game, I'd say, for the Majors. Giacalone as well. Anthony Giacalone as well, I'd say. The goaltender, Jacob Gibbons, had a phenomenal game. I want to shout him out too. He made some big time saves, and when the Sens were pushing down the stretch and pushing while the Sens were down, he held them in, and he was a calming presence back there and came up with some big saves. Both goalies actually came up with some big time saves in different spots in the game. Despite the 3-3 score, those goals, it easily probably could have been a 6-6 game if not for these goalies making these big time saves. Evan Mallett started that game for the Sens and there. And then also, last but certainly not least, for the Majors here, Jonathan Carreri also had a really great game for them. Really just his work ethic really showed, and his ability just to put the pressure on the Sens, and kind of he was playing PK, really putting the pressure on, using his feet to create a lot of offense. And he had a great goal too off a 2-on-1 that he actually created with the pressure he put on, and then got the assist from number 67 Gia Cologne as well. So he had a great game for the Majors. They really came out to play. They took the 2-0 lead, and the Sens really had to work for this. They had to work to battle back for this tie. And Frasca, Misa, Spence, Huynh, all players who really stood out for me in that game. Gabe Frasca, he's really been kind of rising for me and really been standing out more and more as the season's gone on here. And he had a great game. I found really moving himself into spaces where he can make an impact, make plays with the puck, adding a bit of physical presence too, using his body. He's a bigger player. He's got the size, and he's still filling out some more. So he's really using his body effectively with that respect. And then Michael Misa, we know the skill he has, but one play that really stood out to me as an underager. I saw someone put out something when the whole news came out that when Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick talked about Michael Misa, Ryan Rubrick, William Moore, and all the exceptional status. I saw someone put out a tweet about him being undersized should be would be a primary reason why he wouldn't get it. I want to put that to bed. If there's a reason he doesn't get it, that's not it. The undersized should not be it, because I watched him. He outmuscled two majors in a corner on the penalty kill. And at the end of the game, he laid a big hit at the end of the game. So that undersized argument, I don't think you can present that there with him. 5'10",
Yeah,
about
like,
buck 60. I have not seen him get dominated physically. Maybe at the start, maybe preseason, I saw him getting pushed a bit, but then he comes back, and I've watched him every game this year, regular season, GTHL, the tournaments. I've seen him push back, and he's just pushed back harder and harder, and he's let people know I'm here and I'm making an impact and I'm going to dominate. And he's done it throughout
yeah.
the game.
Yeah, no, I just was going to jump in on that point. I totally agree with you. Like, I haven't seen him get hit hard all year. And I mean, like, in the corners and stuff, like, I mean, I kind of noticed at the start of the year, maybe a little bit, like he was a little bit kind of not as aggressive, but I think as the year has gone on and like where he's at now, he's become in those tight areas, he's become the aggressor. And like he really is like what you're saying, like he's really tough and gets in those battles, and he's not afraid to go to any dirty areas. Like, I don't see those as being holes in his game at all.
No. So he was had a heck of a game. And then Malcolm Spence also, when push came to shove, he was pushing back, and he was really driving the play and really pushing for those goals and making an impact there for them. And he was doing his thing with the speed he plays with, the aggressiveness he plays with, and that shot was being shown as well. And then Justin Huynh on defense, we got a tremendous interview with him. He was really showing his offensive abilities, showing his ability to move the puck up ice, showing his offensive instincts as well. He had a great game. But the Sens really had to battle back. They had to call up a couple 07 players, Morano and Brassard from their 07 teams, just add a couple 07s to their mix. Like, they don't have enough 07s already. But you know what I mean? So, but the Sens really had to battle back. They showed some determination. They showed some fight, and they really had to battle back to tie this game. But it was a tremendous game for both teams. And it's a shame, to be honest, it was a shame that game had to. I wish there could have been an overtime or something in that game, because that tie, it felt like someone deserved to win out of that. But the tie was tremendous. The game was tremendous as well, with that respect. And then after that Sens Majors game, I got the chance to catch a bit of the Nats versus the Rangers. From the Nats, Ryerson Leanders, goaltender, friend of the pod. He had a tremendous game. He really was just tremendous in the crease. Came up with some big saves. This game ended in a 1-1 tie between the Nats and the Rangers, and he was a big part of that. And then another standout for me on the Nats, I'd say Nash Giles, a bigger player, really uses his size well, and he was creating some offense for the Nats. But he was definitely, excuse me, a standout player and a standout performer for the Nats. And then as I looked at the Rangers, Kevin He, Rowan Topp, a couple players who really jumped out at the page for me, really creating a lot. Topp, obviously, we're going to get into him a bit later on with the tremendous interview we got with Rowan Topp. But Topp was really playing a shutdown, really applying that physicality as we know and love with Rowan Topp. And Kevin He just using that speed, that offense really effectively, and just getting after it. Just a dangerous, lethal threat on the offense. I think Connor Walton's a defenseman I thought was really solid that game. Really stayed home, effective, physical, just a shutdown sort of defenseman who was able to kind of keep calm and take things to the other team as well with that respect. And Sean Atchison as well, and Christopher Brown, another couple players on the Rangers who I thought had a great game. Christopher Brown always seems to stand out when I watch him play. So he was doing his thing, mohawking around the ice.
Mohawk 10-2 all day, right?
So he was looking good. And then another game I saw, kind of got to catch a bit of this game in the rink 2, was Don Mills and Toronto Red Wings, finished in a 1-0 tie. Really tight game. Both teams were playing real tight, really tough game from both teams. Aiden Renault had a really solid game. You could see the talent he has on the ice and the skill and his ability to move the puck up ice. But I really liked on the Red Wings here. Seller, our friend of the pod, Amari Sellers, had a really strong game. Mark Zhang as well. I think I really like his speed that he plays with and his ability to get after loose pucks. Mac Alpine, really big defenseman, big, lots of size, plays physicality, uses his size effectively out there. He looked good. Was a standout for them. And then also Tyrone Fevry as well. He was really making an impact. You can see the shot that he has for the Red Wings, and how he was able to impact the game with his offense and the strength that he plays with. And I'd also say Ty Henry. For me, Ty Henry really showed a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
emotion in his game when I was watching him play. He definitely was vocal, communicative, really showing a lot of emotion. He showed that he was caring. Like he cares when he plays. You can see he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he was playing with some heart in that game. He was definitely a player who's standout performer for the Red Wings there. But Don Mills, I'd also say for Don Mills, guy, shout out, goalie. We got the shout out in that game, not shout out. I should also shout him out too, by the way. But Luca Di big goaltender, big. He's got the size, really vocal. Love the communication this kid has on him. Love the energy he plays with in the crease there, and big shutout game and a big time game, I'd argue as well, between Don Mills and Toronto and the Toronto Red Wings there, as they're pretty tight in the standings, and that kind of at this point the 7 and 8 seed in the GTHL standings. So a really tight game. Luca Di Felice once again having a great performance, big in the crease there. And the Toronto Red Wings, tough loss.
Yeah.
They both played a really tough game there.
Well, DeFelice, like, I mean, that's kind of a common theme we've had we've talked about him a lot. Like I mean, it's tough to make that GTHL top prospects game, but I was kind of surprised not to see him on that roster. He must have been the next guy in line for them, like for the GTHL, but he's really good. Like, guy we should probably try to get on the pod, right?
Yeah, and he once again had a phenomenal performance there.
Yeah.
And then after that Westwood game, I got to Sunday night, got to catch back in Niagara here, got to catch a nice little OMHA playoff game between Southern Tier and Guelph. Really tight game actually. Callum Chanowski, friend of the pod, had him on the last episode. He potted the first one for the Southern Tier Admirals there. He was showing off his offensive aggressiveness and really jumping up. I've really consistently find those passing lanes, showing some poise in the back end there in the neutral zone and in transition. Nick Madeir, number 11 for Southern Tier, really physical player, really strong. He's got the size and really uses it effectively. He's tough on the forecheck. He's tough to play against down low. He wins those battles, and he's not afraid to go to the net too, which is important for those big guys. And he makes his presence known there. Had actually had the tying goal off a shot from Tristan Chevalier, but he was off going to the front of the net. He potted that rebound for Southern Tier there to tie the game up late, because Guelph actually had a 2-1 lead off a couple guys who stood out for me, and Davis and Brenton from Guelph there. But along with those 4 players there, in addition to those guys, Southern Tier also, I say number 14, Rowan, also had a great game. I'd say really calm defenseman at the back end. I really like his skating, those mobility. He's really able to open up shooting lanes, open up passing lanes on the breakout, really find those players that and hit those passes and get the offense moving up ice. And then Kennedy as well, number 47 for Southern Tier there. I really liked his game as well. He was really creating some offense, really finding ways to be slick with the puck and get past the defense from Guelph and create a lot of offense in the offensive zone and get the cycle going for Southern Tier as well. But they played to a 3-2 win, and Tristan Chevalier, offensive defenseman, end-to-end rush with the assist from Hunter Coley. Really great game from those 2 guys as well. Tristan Chevalier potted the winner there for Southern Tier, but it was a tight game, 3-2, and Southern Tier looks like they're really close to potentially clinching a spot in their OMHAs there. So really looking forward to seeing what Southern Tier has got left for the little SCTA playoffs here. That regard, but sticking with the theme of the SCTA playoffs and the OMHA playoffs here down in the SCTA, Niagara North played Halton in the big Group A matchup here. I should mention, they both clinched to make it to the OMHA championships, with the OMHAs falling in 18 format this year. But you're still playing for pride. You're still playing for bragging rights to win the tops of that group and want to be hot going in. And it was a tight game, really close match game. Both teams came out hard. Both teams came out flying. And Niagara North ultimately got the 2-1 win. But it was a phenomenal game. I mean, starting with Niagara North, Parker Folan, friend of the pod, guest of the pod as well. He had a great game, really displaying his awareness, on-ice awareness, the hockey IQ, his passing, really unreal pass to Dominic DiFrancesco, another standout performer. Backdoor on the just perfect, found the seam and just nailed it backdoor for the game-winning goal. Just a phenomenal pass. As I mentioned, Dominic DiFrancesco, he is just one of the hardest workers on the ice. He's got really smart player too, puts himself in the right spots, and he's got a ripper of a shot, I gotta say. He nailed one off the crossbar at one point too. Ben Theron as well. He was creating a lot, had a nice goal in the game, really slipped it under the goalie's arm, but great game from him as well. He was creating a lot. And then Luca Testa, and Finn Wilson as well. Luca Tessa was really creating a lot, getting after it, showing his offensive capabilities. And then Finn Wilson was once again steady in the crease for Niagara North, being a solid presence for them, making some big saves down the stretch to kind of maintain that 2-1 lead that they had late in the game there. And then looking at Halton really played a tough game. That was one of the best performances I've seen from them, got to see from them this season. Starting the crease for them, they had a great performance from Ben Rebick in the crease. Apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly, but he had a great performance in the crease. Really came up with some big saves. Niagara had their chances, and he definitely made some big time saves, coming up some clutch saves for them down the stretch to give them a chance to potentially tie the game. And then Chris Soares, one of the best games I've seen him play all year, just from my perspective and me being able to watch him live. Just the all-around game that he showed in the relentlessness that he played with in that game really stood out for me. His stick pressure, his feet consistently keeping those feet moving, getting after it, not giving those Niagara defense much time to do anything with the puck, and also applying a bit of physicality as well. He was a really, in my opinion, the strongest, had the standout performance from Halton in that game. And then in addition to him, another friend of the pod here, Hunter McKenzie,
Of course.
ripped one first for the goal for Halton, posting in, just an unreal shot. He got better as the game went on, really showed what he could do with that two-way game and the strength he plays with. And then Christopher Cassie and Braden Hobson as well were two other players who I thought looked really good for Halton, despite the loss in the game. But really tight in the OMHA there in the SCTA. As we talk about the OMHAs and the SCTA, I mean, everything's tight. I mentioned earlier, Niagara North and Halton clinched their spots in the OMHA championships. At a Group B in the SCTA, Hamilton Junior Bulldogs officially clinched their spot in the OMHA championships after tying Brampton this past week. And then obviously we know with Group 1 in the ETA, Quinny and Markham have officially clinched now their spots in the OMHA championships after Markham beat Oshawa last night, or by the time we release this, it'll be a couple nights ago. So Wednesday night they played. So there's definitely already some spots being clinched, but there's still lots of hockey being left to play and lots of spots still to be decided here in the OMHA championship. So
you know what's going to be fun is that group of death, that Series 3 in the ETA. All teams deadlocked 2-2. So Clarington, Richmond Hill, York Simcoe, and what's the fourth one there? North Central. That's been some good hockey in that series. Like I caught that YSC North Central game, and it was a 5-0 win for YSC, but in their first game that they played, it was 4-0 for North Central. So it kind of shows how like anyone can win in any of those games, and that's going to be a battle for that OMHA spot among those four teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see who comes out of there, and whoever comes out of there is definitely going to be on a high going into
that's exactly.
So definitely looking forward to that. But that basically does it for both you and I and all the games we got to attend. So it's definitely some excitement there. But we'll get into the interviews now. We've 3 great interviews, and we'll start off with forward Jack Van Volsen, who we got to talk to from the Toronto Junior Canadiens. He's had a really strong season this year. I mean, he was named MVP of the Silver Stick. Really strong year so far, and he had a strong performance in the Top Prospects game as well. So without further ado, here's our first interview with forward Jack Van Volsen from the Toronto Junior Canadiens.
All right, we're here with Jack Van Volsen, star forward from the JRC. Jack, how's it going, buddy?
Going good. How are you guys?
Going pretty good. Recently got to go to that GTHL Top Prospects game, and you were lucky enough to participate in that. And it was great watching you there. You played awesome. What was that whole experience like? And what was it like getting to play in it with some of your teammates from the JRC?
Yeah, for sure. It was obviously a huge honor to be a part of that game. It's kind of one of the pinnacles, I guess, of playing in the GTHL, especially when you're older. You'll look back on that and you can, say you're proud and to, play in that game, because obviously the guys that have played in there. And then obviously, the big crowd that it draws. So it's cool to play in front of all those people. And then obviously to share it with my teammates, the 6 other guys from JRC, it was really special.
Yeah, that's awesome. And speaking of your teammates, you've had tremendous chemistry with your specific line mates this season. Most of the year they've gone with that one line, and you guys have been absolutely tearing it up, lighting it up. with yourself, Porter Martone, and Antonio Tersini. Like, what's that been like, kind of playing with that line and like just gelling so well and being on the roll you guys are on?
Yeah, so actually, this is my first year on JRC, and me and Martone, where he came from Peterborough, I came from Whitby, and we both actually played 05 growing up. So we played against each other kind of our whole minor hockey careers.
Nice.
Yeah, and we actually skate in the summers together too. We have the same skating coach, so we kind of already knew each other going into this season. And we played together at that draft day tournament in the summer. We were on the same ETA team. And then so we kind of knew we were probably figured out that we were going to play together. And then honestly, after that Hamilton weekend, there was kind of like a bunch of exhibition games. T came on our line a couple of times, and honestly, he's kind of, he's so hardworking. He kind of just fit in perfectly with us, and it's obviously showed so far.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, Connor and I talk about it all the time. That line, that big line, right, Connor? Just on fire.
No, it's you guys are like the driving force, and you guys just every time you guys step on the ice, the other team's in for it, and the offensive zone time you guys create and the amount of points you guys get, it's just unreal. And the chemistry, it's clear for anyone watching that it exists there, and it's been unreal watching you guys play. I mean, you talked about you and Martone there, you guys have skated together and all that. So just getting into your game now, for me, one of the biggest things I've noticed is you just utilizing your skating so effectively and your ability to just find kind of the soft areas in the offensive zone. I mean, just how do you like to use kind of your skating to just create that offense that you're able to create so much?
Yeah, so obviously being kind of taller guy, I am taller centerman. I feel like I kind of got like that long, powerful stride. It doesn't necessarily look like I'm going that fast, but I'm right with everyone, if not faster than everyone. Obviously my skating coach, Ashley Jones, who's actually she just got hired by the Generals, like I think last year. So that's who me and Martone skate with. And I've been skating with her since I was four. So my dad who played, he really knows the focus on skating and how important it is. So that's been a big part in my development throughout the years. And then obviously as a centerman, kind of being the last wave of attack out of the D zone, I got to be able to catch up to my wingers to join the rush. So just utilizing the skating that in that aspect, and being able to catch up to my wingers to be able to create offense.
Nice. That's such an intelligent answer, and it just provides just that insight into the development you've had, and as well as just your mindset on the ice and just that hockey IQ you exhibit out there as well. And I mean, in addition to your skating there, your puck skills, I mean, we've seen you use it countless times this year to just work in small areas, work in tight spaces. I mean, just high end stick handling. Your shot's incredible. I mean, we've seen you put the puck in it tons of times this year. I mean, you just have tremendous puck control. I mean, what would you say has helped you develop sort of these attributes in terms of your puck skills and just ability to work so well in the small areas?
Yeah, so obviously, my growing up, my dad would build a backyard rink. So in the winters, I'd just be out there all day shooting pucks, stick handling under sticks and stuff. And then in my basement, I got a pretty cool setup. It's a bunch of like those tiles with like a tarp. So I'm just down there, especially in COVID, like a couple of years ago, I was just down there so much. And then honestly, in January, when we got shut down for a bit, where we couldn't go on the ice as much and like not as many games, I got back down there a lot. And it's kind of just like just repetitions, shooting at those targets. It just helps me, capitalize on the chances I get, because you only get so many in a game, so you got to capitalize. And then like the small areas you said, kind of just finding those soft spots. I kind of think I'm really good at that. But the rest goes to my line mates, because once I get in those soft spots, I tell them like once I'm there, I'm going to call for it. And kind of when they hear my voice, they know where I am.
Oh, that's just awesome. And just the work you put in, it's definitely shown. And I love that last point there, just about kind of your teammates know where you are as well, and just find that soft area. And it's so quick, and the ability to capitalize, like you said, I mean, you only get so many chances. So to have that ability to capitalize, it's just so crucial. I know OHL teams and teams at the next level will definitely value that and love that about your game as well. And I know Ryan has definitely noticed that as well.
Definitely. I mean, I've been a big fan of your game. Like, I watched a lot of the Carnivale League games and then a lot of the JRC games this year. And it's been a lot of fun watching you play. And Connor went over some key parts of your game that we really like. Like there's a lot more that we could discuss, but those are kind of the big ones. But for you, if you had like, let's say 3 words to describe your game, what would they be and why?
I'd say competitive. I hate losing. It's kind of the mentality that I've always had, growing up playing mini sticks. Never like to lose in that. And then smart. I think I'm one of the smartest players on the ice. I kind of can read plays a step ahead to, once again, to allow me to get to those soft spots because I know like the area that I'm in and then the timing that I can get the puck and be able to shoot it. And then consistent. I think I'm a consistent player. My coaches know what I'm going to bring to the table every night. My line mates know. So I think just that part. So competitive, smart, and consistent.
Wow, those are 3 good things to be. I mean, competitive, you see it like every shift, like with that consistency. Those 2 kind of go together a little bit as well, right? And then and smart, like your hockey IQ is great. I think one of the things I love about your game is like your movement away from the puck, right? You use that big long stride and those skating abilities to get to open spaces. And I think with your line mates, like they must love that because you're always kind of in a good spot for them to feed you the puck. And then and they also move well without the puck as well. So it's part of the reason why you guys are so successful. It's awesome. Like looking to the NHL, are there any players you model your game after?
Yeah, so one guy, obviously, like here being close to Toronto, obviously, like every time Matthews is playing, I'll watch him just kind of like about his shot. But as like a whole game, honestly, probably a guy like Mark Scheifele on the Winnipeg Jets. He's got that 200-foot game. He's very, very smart. We kind of have similarities, kind of like the even balance of scoring and assists. But he might even be a little bit more to the scoring side. Like he plays on the power play. I know that he plays kind of like the flank, just like I do. And he's also a taller guy with I think he has a similar skating stride to me. So I can kind of see myself when I'm watching him.
Yeah. Austin Matthews. I mean, I follow the Leafs closely, so you can't go wrong there. And I got the Colts jersey in the background there. So I started out, a lot of my stuff was Barry Colts stuff when I got my first Twitter account, started to kind of do stuff with hockey. And so Scheifele was obviously a big one for me. So I love that. I love that comparable coming up, like just kind of like that kind of guy that you model after. Like I remember OHL finals against London. In one period, he got 4 goals and an assist. And the at the time it was the BMC. Now it's the Sadlin Arena in Barrie, but that place was just jumping, like just people were just like flying out of their seats, like just absolute insanity. And one of those moments I think Colts fans are never going to forget. And obviously right now, like such a star player for the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, so that's a great one. I love that one.
Oh, that's an awesome player to have a comp to as well. And we got a couple questions here as well, a couple fun ones just to get to know you a bit off the ice as well. So first one for you. I mean, if you could have any sort of superpower rather, what would you choose and why?
Oh, probably be able to time travel, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I think it'd just be cool to go back and like relive things or maybe go into the future and just kind of see what's going to happen, I guess.
Ooh, that's a good one. Now, would you pick to go back in time or would you rather go forwards in time, do you think? Which one do you think would be more enticing?
Probably back in time. Nothing better than being a little kid.
Yeah, that's a great one. And then kind of similar, you kind of led me into the next one here for related time. If you could go back in time or even right now and have lunch with sort of any famous person or celebrity or athlete, who would it be and why would you want to kind of have dinner with that person?
Honestly, probably Sidney Crosby. When I was a little kid, my room used to be decked out in like Penguins and Crosby stuff. I had like a big sticker or whatever just on the wall. And he was kind of like the guy that when I was little growing up, like before Matthews or any of these guys came in the league, he was the guy that I always watched. And I remember there's like a documentary on him. I used to watch it over and over again. Just I don't know, I just loved the way that he played hockey, and he was my idol growing up for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. And he's definitely a great guy to have looked up to. And he had that golden goal in Vancouver was also unreal. So there's that as well. So that's awesome. And just to wrap up here, we really appreciate you taking the time, Jack, and just best of luck with the JRC the rest of the season going into the playoffs here. Best of luck and hopefully potentially clinching an OHL Cup berth there, and best of luck at the OHL draft. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
And we're back from an interview with forward Jack Van Volsen from the Toronto Junior Canadiens U16 AAA programming. Phenomenal player, first and foremost, just a phenomenal player, but as well, actually, I should say rather, first and foremost, phenomenal person off the ice too. It was phenomenal getting to talk to him while we were recording and afterwards too. Just so down to earth, so awesome, and really just a phenomenal year he's had. It's the work he's put in and the work he's definitely seen the production, but it's all the work and the attributes he has is definitely shown with the results he's had this year and the points he's been able to put up. But he's just been unreal this year, and his ability for me, it starts off. I mean, obviously we know about the line he plays with, the chemistry they have, but his ability for me, I've noticed, is just to find those soft areas. And we talk about with him that soft areas on the ice and set himself up in positions where he's got the chance to score and his teammates can find him as well and feed him the puck, where he can use that outstanding shot he's got, an outstanding release where he can put the puck in the net, finish on us, capitalize on his scoring chances.
Yeah. His first and foremost, I mean, like you mentioned, his skating is unbelievable. Really, really good long stride, tall forward, and really good quick cuts and edges. Like changes of direction are excellent, and the changes of pace and just his ability to see the ice and like move to open areas, like really, really natural hockey IQ in those areas. And so he always seems to be in a great spot that where like, I mean, that whole line, they kind of move well together, and they all move well when they don't have the puck and when they do have the puck. So, I mean, that line with him, Tersini and Martone is just unbelievable. Like, great to watch. And Van Volsen, like, that speed, that quickness, the first two steps are electric. Like, he just can get up to full speed really, really fast. And when he has the puck, great skills. Like, those puck skills are really high end, like excellent passer. Just in terms of forehand, backhand, just the timing and precision of those passes is unbelievable. And then what he does after he passes, it's great. Like he jumps to the open gaps, and then this line, like it's like tic tac toe, like they can tic tac toe like 3 times before they get a goal sometimes in the offensive zone. The way they kind of move the puck around with the quick movement and also with their quick skating, it's unbelievable. And Van Volsen's really a catalyst for the JRC. Really, really good offensively. And I mean, in terms of additionally with his puck skills, like his shot release, he's got a great quick release, gets it off, and changes the angle before the shot. He can curl it in a little. Notice he's got a few different shot releases. He can go like kind of toe and pull it inside, or like he goes heel outside and rips it. Really, really good player. Like, great puck control, unbelievable stick handler, and when he gets a hot pass, it kind of can be kind of in his feet or kind of like, I don't know, whatever it is, bat it out of the air and it'll land right in front of him. No matter what, he seems like he's always in control. Control of his body is great, like just unreal body control and control with his stick. He's just really, really fun player to watch.
No, absolutely, and he's got that strength to his game too, where he's got that physicality. He can play no matter no matter the style of game you're looking to play. He can play that finesse, that skill game as well. Well, he can also throw his weight around and be a physical presence for the JRC. And in addition to that offensive prowess we've seen him put on and that offensive show he's put on, I'd also say he's been a really strong player with that two-way game. I've seen him consistently be put out there on the penalty kill and those late game situations for the JRC. Really great stick. He's really applies that hockey IQ and that intelligence that he has out there to really be impactful, to put himself in a good spot, put his stick in a good spot, to lead guys where he wants them to go, and really just intercept plays or put pressure on, and then force, if it's on the PK, force those shorthanded opportunity, or whether it's 5-on-5 in the D zone, he's forcing the defense and making a quick turnover, and then they're back on the offense. And once he's in the offensive zone with the puck with his teammates, we very quickly can end up in the back of the net with them. So he's got the high hockey IQ. He's got the scoring ability. He's got the playmaking as well. He can see the ice so well. He's got that physicality. He's got the strength, and he's got sort of the all-around aspects that are really, really impressive with this player. And it's worth noting as well. He also talked to us. He played up for a number of years as well with the Whitby Wildcats organization as well. So he's already kind of experienced playing up necessarily. He's also playing up and playing a more physical style of game, playing faster with guys who are a bit older as well. So he's got that mix, and he looks like a leader out there too. He's a guy that communicates well. He's just an impressive overall player, I say. And any team, like whichever team gets him, it'll be fun to see where he goes. And I cannot see him lasting too long come draft day with this type of player he is and the intangible aspects that he also brings, Ryan.
Well, the interview was just unbelievable, right? Really mature kid, like beyond his years in terms of maturity. Like I was impressed actually. When we got off the call, we were just like, wow. I mean, all these interviews are great, but every once in a while, like you have one that kind of really blows you away, and that was one. Like if I was, I mean, I'm sure he's going to do great in his OHL team interviews. Like he just has so much poise in an interview, but he also, like, you see that on the ice, right?
Oh, always unreal.
Really, really focused, really kind of, he's all there. Like he's really like a smart kid, and it really shows, just the way he plays and just meeting him as well.
No, absolutely. So just once again, can't thank him enough for taking the time. It's a busy year with these GTHL players and all the players, the playoffs coming around, and schedule's getting tightened up here. So really, once again, can't thank Jack enough for taking the time to come on the pod here. But we'll jump in the next interview. We got the chance with the player we got the chance to talk to. We got the chance to have defenseman Justin Huynh from the Mississauga Sens. Phenomenal interview, phenomenal player. So without further ado, once again, here's our interview with defenseman Justin Huynh from the Mississauga Sens. All right, we are now joined on the U16 pod by star defenseman Justin Huynh from the Mississauga Sens U16 AAA program. Justin, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. Excited to have you on, man. It's been fun watching you this season. And you've had a great year with the Sens, and your team's had a really great year so far. And your play ultimately got rewarded, and the GTHL recognized you, and you got to participate this past week in the GTHL Top Prospects game. I mean, can you just talk to us about what that whole experience was like, and what it was like to get to participate with some of your teammates from the Sens there?
Yeah, like obviously it's an honor to be able to be selected to play in the game with a bunch of the best players in the league. Like, you know, as a kid, everyone like who plays hockey dreams of playing in this game, because like it means you're doing well in hockey. And like it was just an unreal experience. Like from the practice day, you know, we had a hockey equality presentation, got all our gear from Under Armour, our jerseys, and the practice itself. Then obviously game night, it was packed crowd. The game was really competitive, fast. Like obviously we had the celebrity coaches, and I mean it was really fun, awesome to play with all the Sens boys, because I've been with them for so long, and like it was good seeing their hard work too get recognized.
Oh, that's awesome. I know they put out the video of the Friday, I think it was like, the Monday night where you guys got to open up all the gear. What was it? What's it like getting all that gear? Like, is the gear pretty sick there?
Yeah, and the gear is pretty sick. We got a lot of nice free stuff, you know, shoes, like some shirts and pants, stuff like that. It was really cool.
Nice, that's awesome. And I know the game's always a big crowd, gets a big crowd, even though they kind of had the capacity restrictions. It was still as packed as it could have been. I know it was a massive event, and you definitely showed well there. And then just transitioning to your team and the season so far, I mean, you guys have had a strong season, like I mentioned earlier, and you guys got about 6 games left in the regular season. Can you just talk to us about sort of the mindset you guys have as you head towards the playoffs and work towards potentially clinching a OHL Cup berth?
Yeah, obviously with the Sens, like I've been with them for my whole life, so the mindset's always been the same. We want to like work our hardest, push each other to be better, you know, get better every day, every game, and like we want to be at our best in the playoffs and in the OHL Cup.
Nice. I think that's a great mindset to have, and a lot of the great teams always have that mindset of, as you get better during the regular season, really start to hit your stride in the playoffs there as you approach the playoffs. And I think Ryan's noticed that with a lot of the great teams in past years as well. Ryan?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you want to be playing your best at that OHL Cup, right? That's going to be kind of the pinnacle of the season there, and yeah, it's going to be really exciting I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be there. Like I've penciled you in already, but transitioning kind of to your game, like individually, you're really, really strong at kind of moving the puck up ice efficiently in multiple ways. You're kind of that elite puck moving defenseman. can you talk to us about your mindset just coming out of the D zone and deciding like whether or not you want to make that first pass or maybe carry it up a bit, or whatever you're thinking, kind of doing that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so obviously when I go back to get the puck, I get my head up and I scan the ice, because obviously we have really fast forwards on the team. So if I see them in stride or wide open, like I can make a stretch pass, I'll hit them, because I always trust my first read and I trust myself to make that pass. But like if teams are trapping or they're locking on the forwards, I'll take the ice a bit, try to draw people into me to make the forwards open, or I'll just take it like straight into the O zone if I can.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good answer. I mean, head up, that's one of the things that I notice about you. You have your head up and you're always kind of ready to make that pass, and make that pass efficiently and on time. And it's one of the things that's so great about your game. Like you seems like you're always got that trigger for that pass ready. And I mean, if the ice is there, why not take it, right? Take it all the way if you want. And I've seen you do that before as well. And I think you display such high hockey IQ with the way you move the puck up ice. And like your hockey IQ is just unreal. Like it's really impressive, not only moving up ice, but also in the offensive zone for your team. So what or who would you say has helped you develop those attributes?
One thing was definitely like I've had such great coaches and trainers who can like help me get the foundation of like my hockey knowledge and stuff, teach me to learn the game better, all that type of stuff. And then watching NHL games, like watching all the NHL players, how they play, how they think, it helps a lot. And also watching our games back, watching game tape, see like what mistakes I made or what things I did good, so that I can keep doing them or fix up the mistakes.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I mean, listen to your coaches. I mean, you look like a very coachable player, just by the way you play. And I love that about like watching video back, right? Like looking at different scenarios and thinking what you could have done differently, or looking at the good and the bad and kind of picking it apart a bit. That's great. And I mean, the other part about watching pro hockey is kind of a good transition into your next question, right, Connor?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I know there's a lot of guys in the NHL who kind of fit a similar style mold as you do right now. So I gotta ask, are there any players in the NHL who you model your game after?
Well, yeah, obviously there's Cale McCarr. He's really good offensively and defensively. He's fast. He's a good skater with edges. Like he's really good with the puck, and he gets a lot of points too. So yeah, I try to model my game after him, like offensive style, and he also makes really good first passes too. So
Nice. Yeah, that's a great. I was exactly the guy I had on my mind as I was putting that together there. So that's a great
Yeah.
comp there for players in the pros that are just like you. And then kind of a bit away from hockey, getting to know you off the ice a bit here. If you weren't playing hockey, what would be your go-to sport, do you think?
I like a lot of types of sports, like baseball. I used to play baseball, basketball, soccer, football, but I'd say my go-to would probably be basketball.
Nice.
Nice.
How's the free throw look? How's the shot look for basketball? How's
Yeah,
that?
pretty good. I'd say I'm pretty good at basketball.
Nice. I like that. Do you have a favorite team in the NBA?
NBA, yeah, Raptors.
Yeah.
Gotta cheer on the hometown team.
Nice. Yeah.
That's
That's the
it.
mindset.
That's it.
That's a
Nice.
good one. You always gotta have the hometown team, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I skipped out on work to get down to that parade. I was working down in downtown Toronto, and I pulled the good old, got a doctor's appointment the afternoon of the Raptors parade. So that was quite the move. My boss wasn't too happy about that. Sorry, boss, if you're listening, I'm not working for you anymore. But I wasn't at the doctor. Um, and yeah, so going to the next one, just kind of get into the fun ones. If you won the lottery, what would be the first thing you would buy?
That's a good question. I think I'd buy like a big house with like a hockey rink, like my own hockey rink, and like a lot of different like sports facilities there, so I can just play a lot of sports, and like I wouldn't have to leave home to play hockey. So That'd be pretty nice. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, hockey. And then if you had a lot of money, I guess you could also do maybe like with your basketball, indoor, outdoor basketball court,
Yeah.
and fun stuff like that, right? Have some fun with the boys. Nice. Yeah, so just another one here, like just kind of an interesting one. I love this one. If you could swap places with any celebrity or athlete for 24 hours, who would you want to swap places with?
I think I'd switch places with Connor McDavid because obviously he's the best. He's the best player in the world. It'd be sick for a day having all his skills, his speed, and stuff like that. And like, yeah.
Oh,
Like with like, I don't know if there's ever been a player that plays with that speed and that ability with his hands, like in the history of the game. It's such a wild combination of like just pure attributes. I'm not saying he's the best player of all time. We're not there yet, but like, man, it's just unbelievable watching him play. So like, just to kind of be him for a game would be pretty crazy. Like, just to kind of see what it feels like to be able to do that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like firsthand. So anyways, that's never going to happen. I don't think it's possible. So, but anyways, just thanks, Justin, for coming on the pod. Had a lot of fun, like kind of chatting and getting to know a little more about you. And yeah, like just very best of luck with the rest of the season and best of luck at the OHL draft.
Thank you guys for having me on the pod.
and we're back from the interview with Justin Huynh, defenseman with the Mississauga Sens U16 AAA program. And just starting off with Justin Huynh, one of the things you first notice with him, just the IQ, the intelligence, obviously the offensive instincts are there, the offensive mind. He's a really offensive defenseman. He really looks to kind of drive the play up ice, whether it be making a great first pass or carrying it up himself. And for me, he blew my mind when we were talking to him with just the intelligence, the hockey IQ. I mean, when you watch him, you can see the way he plays. Then when we're talking about kind of just the way what he's thinking when he moved the puck up ice, it's just the way he spoke and the way he talked. But if a guy's coming at me, they're playing kind of a trap and they're kind of closing off, and my forwards aren't necessarily available, I want to carry it up a bit and then draw the guys into me, so then my forwards can be opened up. Then I can hit them with a pass. Just that mindset and that the ability to communicate that, just so impressive, and it was just incredible. And you could see how the IQ and the intelligence off the ice really translates on the ice with his decision making and his knowledge and his awareness of when I want to jump up, when I want to make this first pass. Are my players available here? Who do I want to go to? Just the ability to dissect the game at such a high level and such an elite level, rather, is just phenomenal. You could see it on the ice consistently with him game in and game out.
Yeah, no, that honestly, that interview was unbelievable in terms of that stuff you're talking about, that elite puck moving D-man. That's what he is. And he's so smart in terms of how he does that and how he thinks it, really well coached. He really thinks about it and pays attention to the details. Like it's actually like a younger player I'm working with in U15. I actually recommended he listen to the interview with Justin Huynh, because I mean, I think like his awareness is just and how he thinks and how he thinks the game and how he kind of like how he enunciated and kind of put that into detail for us for this interview is just so good. Like I don't know, you can tell that he really gets it. And it was one thing to kind of hear him talk about it in the interview, but the other thing was like you can see it just watching him play, right? Just that hockey IQ is really elite. And it's a player that's at first, I mean, at the start of the year, I always thought he was really good. I thought he was a solid player, but the more I've watched him and the more I've seen how he thinks the game and how he makes his reads and how he goes through his progressions and does all that stuff, the more I watch him, the more I love his game. And it's like, if I had a ranking, I don't have rankings this year, but if I had one like early in the year and like to now, he'd be a guy that's been steadily rising for me. Just really good. Like when he's got his feet moving and he's got his speed, he moves well. And then he's got his head up. He's ready to like fire a pass whenever. He's got that. Like sometimes I talk about the trigger on the pass being quick, being ready to pass. Like great feet, ability to kind of get those passes off when he needs to. So always kind of ready to fire that pass when it's needed. And man, he really draws guys in. Like it's one of those things. Like he'll go all the way end to end if they'll give it to him. But he'll also get rid of it right away. It's just never kind of a bad pass. Always kind of finds a tape and really really good at moving that puck up ice.
Oh, absolutely. And as we talk about that ability kind of from the D zone out, when you get into the offensive zone with him, his speed and his footwork on the blue line are also so impressive. And it's just that mindset where he recognizes the open space, represents the rotations that are happening, where players are going, and he moves into that open space. The amount of times where I've seen him, whether it be power play, even 5-on-5, where guys are moving around and open space opens up, like there's space that opens up, and he jumps it. He recognizes it, and he jumps into it, and it becomes that pass option, and his teammates are able to feed him for a puck, and he gets an offensive scoring opportunity there. But he also just quarterbacks that offensive point as well, really well.
Yeah.
I think he's just a quarterback for them on the power play, the offensive zone. They know when they give it to him, he's a reliable player who can keep the puck in, keep that offensive zone time alive, but he can also work the point, open up passing lanes, shooting lanes, draw guys in like he talks about on the breakout, but he can also do it in the offensive zone. And he just works it so well to find his teammates and just create so much offense for them, while also being such a steady presence at the back end defensively, progressing offensively as well there.
Yeah, for sure. Like the thing about him is he dictates a lot of the game because he has the puck a lot. He does that work on the power play where he kind of does that quarterbacking and facilitates, and he hangs on to the puck a lot. Really calm, really poised with it. Really really good player. Like also really tough to beat off the rush. Like he's strong and really sturdy on his skates. So he's not going to get out muscled, and good in the corners as well. Like really kind of puts in the work and wins those puck battles. So it was really great to have Justin on the pod, right?
No, absolutely. And it was so much fun getting to talk to him while we were recording afterwards. Just another player we have on that's whichever team drafts him is getting a great person off the ice as well, a great teammate. The teammates seem to love him, and honestly, we love talking to him as well. It was so fun while we were recording and before and afterwards as well. It was such a great time as well. He's got the work ethic off the ice with the school, with on the ice, with his on ice play as well. So it just all combines to make such a great player in person, on and off the ice. So just once again, just some big thanks to Justin for taking the time. Once again, it's busy time for these G guys. So really appreciate him taking the time to come on the pod here. But now we'll get into the final interview we have for everyone. Another great interview planned here with Rowan Topp, defenseman from the North York Rangers. So without further ado, here's the interview with Rowan Topp from the North York Rangers. All right, we are now joined on the U16 pod by star defenseman from the North York Rangers U16 AAA program, Rowan Topp. Rowan, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. We're pumped to have you on the pod. We've watched you guys a lot this year at North York and watched your game, and you play an exciting brand of hockey there with the physicality you bring, and we'll get into your game a bit later. But we've got to start with the fact that you got to participate last week in the GTHL Top Prospects game. I mean, first off, just what was that whole experience like in that game, and what was it also like to participate with some of your teammates? Because Sean was there and Charte was there as well. What was that whole experience like?
Yeah, it was like unbelievable. I was able to be with a great group of guys. We were on Team White, and I had a great group of coaches with Ted Nolan and Darcy Tucker and Anthony Stewart, coach like them. It's really an honor because you're able to look up to them and look at all the things that they've accomplished, and really allows you to bring out your strength and show them what you got. And I think that just actually playing in the game, it was so well organized, and there was tons of fans there, tons of scouts. So it obviously was a lot of pressure, but I believe that I rose to the occasion, and we were able to have fun. And like, for example, in the game, I was just listening to the songs and just singing along. I was having the time of my life. It was a great time. And I was able to play my game, be physical, keep the puck out of the net, and make some good first passes. Yeah, it was an unforgettable experience.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love how you're having fun with it too, because it's a top prospects game. Of course, you want to be competitive and all, but it's a fun experience, and it's meant to be fun as well. And I know you definitely made your impact. As Ryan, right after the game and during the game, he's telling me all about Topp just laying people out, big hits. So it was unreal. You definitely made your presence felt in that game, as you do with North York as well. And I mean, we'll get into your team a bit, because you guys have been. I think you guys are trending in a really strong direction, as you guys have had a really tough year with your squad, injuries here and there with your team, and I don't think anyone's really seen you guys at full strength this year, which is so unique with the type of squad you have. So just looking at your team, I mean, as you guys get into the playoffs and we approach the playoffs here with so little season left and potentially clinching an OHL playoff berth in the future, what's sort of the mindset you and your team got going on here as the playoffs approach?
I think it's kind of a battle. We've been up and down throughout the season, and I think we're starting to get down to the final stretch where it's important that we're working as a team, playing as a team, passing, making sure that we're creating offense and stopping the puck from getting in our net. I think we have lots of support behind us, great defensive group, great goalies, and obviously a strong offensive side. But I think that the mindset that we're going into it with is just we need to keep working hard. We need to keep practicing all the things that our coach has been demonstrating to us throughout the year, and make sure that we're locking down and then creating that offensive side. As you know, we have a lot of great forwards up there, Christopher Brown, Kevin He, Bolton. I could keep going on with the list. Also, Lukey Ellenis is out. But these are all forwards that every single one of our forwards is hardworking, and they'll go to the right spots at times. So we just need to keep going with that mindset, hard work, and dedication just to get to the net and keep playing well. And I think we'll be fine. We'll make the OHL Cup, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah.
Oh, unreal! I just love that perspective and love that mindset that's taken there. And you're spot on there with the squad you guys have. I mean, you guys got strong goaltending in the crease with that tandem of Chartier and Marshall there. And then you guys got a really strong defense score. And then, I mean, you just listed off the offensive firepower that just combines there with the roster you guys have. So it's going to be unreal down the stretch. And I know Ryan and I are definitely excited to see you guys down the stretch there in the playoffs. Hey, Ryan?
Yeah, no, definitely exciting. Like your team is great. And honestly, like watching your team, you're like not just on your team, let alone the whole U16 loop. You're one of my favorite players. Because I mean, you bring that physicality and that presence, that kind of those crushing hits. Like every game I see you play, you get at least one like massive bone crushing hit that just kind of the whole crowd just goes crazy. And it feels like you get like a good one, like a good solid hit at least every shift. Like you like to throw the body around and play physical. So like just in terms of that, like why is that kind of so important to you to bring that physical element to the ice so consistently?
I think it's been like the way that I play throughout my whole career. I've always been kind of the big defenseman, and in minor band, I was obviously quite bigger than everyone else. But I think that as years have gone on, they've caught up to me, and I think that now it's all important about being strength. And I'm still a big defenseman there, but I think that making those hits early on and setting the tone for the game really helps my team to go. And it also scares the other teams, makes sure it gives me a better chance of getting the puck out of the corners. And it'll help me to get the mood going for the game and give my forwards some opportunity to hit. And they can set an example after me and then go down with their intensity and make some plays in the offensive zone. So I think that really just the intensity and the tone of the game that I'm bringing when hitting, that's one of the things that I think is really important for me and for my team. So yeah, it really works out well.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, like I'm sure your opponents, when they see you out there, they got the head on a swivel a little bit. They might get rid of the puck a little quicker than they might normally, which is awesome for you. Like it's awesome. I love that type of play, and I don't know, that you kind of got that throwback style. It's great. And I mean, along with your physicality, you also have that rocket of a shot from the point. Can you talk to us about why it's so important to you to utilize that shot in the offensive zone?
Again, yeah, like that's something that I've been doing my whole life. I've always been known to have a hard shot, but especially like back in minor peewee and even minor bantam, I was always kind of a slap shot guy. But that early option kind of faded away once we got to minor midget because you really don't have the time, right? The forwards are faster, bigger. There's not as many lanes. So I think that like practicing my shooting in the summer, I always do. I have a pond here, so I'm literally on that most of the winter whenever I'm not in the rink. But I think that getting it through hard and on net low, it creates a lot of opportunity for my forwards to get rebounds or even when just giving it back to me, if I'm getting a hard shot, it'll give the goalie less time to make the save, which I'll have a better chance of going in. But even just having that hard shot, it'll make the forwards and the other team maybe flinch a little bit more, so I can fake, create open lanes, and find a different lane for a shot. Those are some of the things that I think of when I'm on the line, moving around, trying to find a lane to shoot.
Yeah, and you have great feet too. Like you move well on the just inside that offensive blue line, and I mean changing up the angle, making sure you get it through and on net. It's great. It's something that I've noticed watching you play. You do that really well and effectively. And your one timer is great too. Like you mentioned, you don't have a lot of time to get off those shots, so you position well for that one timer and get those through well and to the net. So that's great. Yeah, it's awesome stuff. I know Connor loves that part of your game. Just kind of that shot, like just all that velocity, right, Connor?
No, it's awesome. And I think what you just said there just really highlights your hockey IQ as well.
Yeah,
It's just that seeing that development and understanding how as you've gotten older, you've got to be quicker. And that really just highlights your intelligence on the ice, which is incredible out there, which is awesome to see. And then just the last part, another part of your game that I've noticed. I mean, being such a strong defenseman and having the strong attributes you have on the ice. You're a player who is put out there in those key situations and in those kind of you get the oppositions those tough matchups against the opposition sometimes. And can you just talk to us about what's your mindset and kind of how you face those challenges of having to face the opposition, or what it's like being out there in kind of the last minute of a game in those kind of situations there?
Oh yeah, I know that my coach can depend on me, and I think that it's important that I do my job and make sure that we're keeping the pucks out of our net and moving them up to our forwards to do their job. But to face the pressure in that kind of situation, I just think of everything I've been taught throughout the years. I've done camps with my defense coach, Brian McLaughlin, and Paul Ranger. He's a great defense coach as well. So I use a lot of the things that they taught me using my sticks. I have a pretty long stick. I use 102 flex, so it's a hard stick, and
wow.
So I have that long reach. But just like players like Malcolm Spence, they're fast, strong, hard on the puck. But I think that if I play my game and keep them to the outside, be physical, it's easier to stop them, and I can rise to the occasion in those situations by just staying calm, not trying to run around and do too much. But I think that, yeah, that's how I like get over the fear, I guess, or the nervousness when those players are on the ice. I just stick to my game and make it simple. Those are the couple pieces of advice that I've taken and applied to my game.
Oh, that's just awesome. Just again, just highlighting the hockey IQ you have there, just recognizing the players and the types of game. It's also a mix. I mean, you know the players are out there, but you also understand the game they have and the game they bring. I mean, you just mentioned it with Spence and the strength and speed he plays with. So being able to understand how you want to defend that type of player and just that calmness you have out there in the poise. I mean, seeing you out there in countless situations where you just bring that reliable presence out there. And I know your coaches trust you so much, and it's just incredible to watch you play there. And then we talked about your physicality, your skating, and some of the things there, some of your attributes. And I see those same attributes in a lot of guys in the NHL. So what players in the NHL would you say you model your game after?
So for the prospects game, I actually got asked the same question, and I selected Shea Weber. He's just a heavy defenseman, hard shot, physical. I think that I can bring better skating abilities to the table, better agility, but he's one of the players that I like to model my game after because he simplifies his game. He has a hard shot, gets it through, and again, sets the mood for his team, and is a leader on the team on and off the ice. And then another player that I would model my game after might be Jake Muzzin because of how simple he is and how he just has a great hockey IQ, makes the right plays at the right times, and will jump up in the play if he needs to, but also will lock down and play physical, like I said.
Oh, two great guys, and just a great comparison for both those guys. And you also we'll toss in there the 102 flex too. Helps with that comp there, I think, too, as well with that rocket of a shot too. So that's an awesome comp, eh, Ryan?
That's awesome. Yeah, those two guys, like things they do really well is they get it out of the zone, Muzzin and Weber, like the hard off the glass when in doubt, right? but also like control breakouts when you have the time to do that. And I see you doing that stuff, like, and those hard shots, the way you play hard, just hard stick checks. Like, it's crazy you use a 102 flex at U16 level. That's awesome, and it's a good insight in your game because you're that hard physical presence. It's awesome. So that's awesome insight, that all that stuff you were saying. But yeah, let's go away from hockey maybe a little here and just get into a couple more fun ones. So what is one object or item you could not live without?
Oh, that's a pretty.
It's a tough one, eh?
I would have to say probably my hockey stick. There's a lot of things you can do with that, training, different things, and it's just like a symbol of my life, right? I've grown up holding a hockey stick in my hand, and that's just one of the things I always want to have with me. I honestly wouldn't care about my phone, any other technology or anything like that. I just want to have a hockey stick in my hand, able to stick handle, because that's something that brings me joy, right? Just going out into the pond, even without skates on, stick handling, shooting the puck, hearing the puck skip across the ice. It's just nothing beats it, right? So yeah,
that's awesome.
you know,
That's awesome. That's a great answer. I mean, like, how could you go wrong with that? Star hockey player, you gotta go with the stick, and it's got to be 100+ flex though. So yeah. Anyways, so I don't know if you're much of a singer, or that any of that sort of stuff. But if you were doing karaoke, like, what would be your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, I'm not a great singer, but I like to sing by myself. And sometimes throw on, because I'm a big country music guy. So I'll throw on some country music. And I'd say that my go-to song would probably be a song called Cover Me Up by Morgan Wallen. It's just one of my favorite songs. I don't know why, but I love it. And it just gets me every time. I love singing.
Nice.
On the money right there. That's country music too. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm in that same boat.
You like it?
Yeah. Oh,
Love
I'm a
it.
big country guy. I
Yeah,
always got chirped in high school because my high school there was almost no country music people.
yeah.
They always chirp me for liking country music, but every time like player says country music, I like get fired up. And Morgan Wallen, that Cover Me Up, that's always on the playlist right there. So you definitely
Yeah, exactly.
hitting the nail on the head with that one. That's awesome. So, but listen, we really appreciate taking the time, Rowan, just coming on. We know it's a busy time in the G with the playoffs coming up and everything going on. So we really appreciate taking the time. Just best of luck going up to the playoffs there. Best of luck the rest of the season, and best of luck at the OHL draft. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. And yeah, hopefully we can finish out the season strong. I know that there's going to be a lot of good teams there, like Junior Canadian, Sens, really a lot of great teams. Also Niagara North from SCTA, they've had a really strong year. And I used to play on Niagara North, right? So I know a lot of the guys, Forlin, Vermeulen, and Luca Test is also one of my favorite guys on and off the ice. He's a great player. And I think that all those guys in Niagara North can bring something great to the table. So it'll be good to see what the OHL Cup brings, and I think that we're going to have a great experience. But I really appreciate you guys having me on the podcast, and I really hope you guys have a great night, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys around the rink.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. And we're back from the interview with Rowan Topp, defenseman from the North York Rangers U16 AAA program. And right off the top, no pun intended there, Rowan we talked about with him the strength that he plays with. He's got to be one of the strongest, just straight up strength-wise, one of the strongest players in this draft class. And I mean, you mentioned it. You mentioned to me before I got the chance to see him, and then you mentioned it countless times during the season, and we mentioned it during the interview. The strength that he plays with, he's just an intimidating presence at the back end with the strength that he has and his ability to just lay the body with punishing hits, Ryan. It creates an intimidating presence, and it makes you, if you're a player going in on the forecheck, you don't want to dump the puck into the number 12's corner there. Otherwise, he'll make you pay, eh?
You got to be aware when he's on the ice. Like, keep your head on a swivel if you're out there facing Rowan Topp, because, oh my gosh, like, some of the bone-crushing hits I've seen him lay out, like, just in terms of, like, the strength is unbelievable. Really, really strong player. He works out, and, like, I mean, even you see in that GTHL video, he's before the Top Prospects game, he's running up and down the stairs, and man, he looks like a strong kid, and the way he plays is really firm. Like, really, really heavy player. Hard, crisp passes right on the tape. Really, really strong like overall in his whole body. And the physicality is the big thing with him. Like, I think that's kind of his calling card and identity as a player, is that physicality, because the way he catches guys in open ice, it takes strength, but it also takes good skating, good feet, and good timing and awareness and hockey IQ to be able to land those huge hits. And he's landing them on top players, like top players in the age group that don't otherwise get hit very often at all. And GTHL top prospects game, he got a huge one and a couple other like really, really solid hits. And every time I see him, he gets one highlight reel hit, and then also probably like adds at least one good solid body check per shift. So he's consistently doing this and really hardworking, really, really tenacious and hard on the puck. Tough to win a puck battle against Rowan Topp. He's got that strong stick, uses that 102 flex, and he puts that on guys, and they're feeling it. Like that's tough stuff. Like really, really good player, tough below the dots, really good off the rush, great feet, great skating, good lateral movement, kind of side to side, throws that hip in there and just levels guys. And I just think defensively, there's so much to his game. Also offensively, there was a showcase game I saw. He kind of stepped in there and ripped one top cheese, and it was just a really high end goal. So he can mix in those offensive abilities and get those goals. And with his skating and passing ability, he's also a great playmaker and facilitates the puck really well. Like, great with breakouts, good tape to tape passes, never misses that first pass out of the zone. Just really good overall player. Love watching him play. Like, he's a throwback, right? I love those physical throwback guys, and man, he's one of my favorites in U16. I always love catching Rowan Topp's games.
Oh, absolutely. I really think you hit the nail on the head with a lot of those points with the overall game he has, and he's a defenseman with a booming shot, and he's found a way. He really highlighted his hockey IQ in the interview, where he really just talked about his ability to adjust and know that, you know, sometimes I gotta let this snapshot go instead of winding up for a slap shot, even though I got a boomer of a slap shot too. So it's having that awareness and that ability to change shots and change the angle, using his mobility really to his advantage. And I think you also hit the nail on the head with that, mixing that hockey IQ with his hitting. Because being there, one thing I've noticed as well is he doesn't necessarily always put himself out of position with hits. Some guys don't hit those big hits, but maybe they'll end up out of position.
Unreal point.
Understanding when to make that hit, understanding the situation. If he's got the coverage behind him with the defenseman, his partner, or a forward kind of back as well, understands those little things as well that are kind of subtle. You know, the big hits always get the ooh and ah, but if the big hit puts you out of position, doesn't necessarily do you as good. But with him, he's making those big hits, and it's a with a purpose type of hit. So it's really important with him, and he's just got it's just the qualities with him are so high end, and so overall it's all there. And he's got the on ice qualities, but also off the ice too. He's just such a great person off the ice. So you can see he's loved by his teammates. He's loved by everyone around him. Talking to him, he used to play with Niagara North down here, back before he went to the G, and everyone, you can tell that everyone from former teams, former teammates, they all just love him. And he's just it's tremendous talking to him, because he's just a fun-loving player, and he loves the game of hockey too. You can see he has that passion. He loves to play the game. He loves to spend time on the ice and just fool around, have some fun. And then when it comes to game time, just take care of business on the ice, and it's just phenomenal. It was phenomenal to get to talk to him and get that perspective from him, because I think
an unreal hockey cut too with the hair. Like,
got the
unbelievable flow. Like, gotta love the haircut.
Bonus points for the flow there. Rowan Topp, the flow. He's got the on ice attributes, the intangible attributes, the leadership, the great qualities off the ice, and then you got the flow too. So you can't go wrong there. Rowan Topp, just I can't see that he's got to be one of the top defensemen overall in this draft class, and I can't see him last. Another player in this episode here who I can't see lasting too long come draft day in the OHL draft, because he really plays one of that game. He's a big player. He's got to be over 6 foot. I think he's about 6'1", 6'2". He's got to be around there. Not sure the exact measurement for height, but he's tall kid, and he's got the strength to him as well. And a lot of teams will like that, especially with defensemen who play that physical style of game, or a shutdown type player too. So really excited. Really can't thank Rowan enough for hopping on the pod. We had a great time. Hope all these players had a great time hopping on the pod for this episode. So just once again, big thanks to Jack Van Volsen, Justin Huynh, and Rowan Topp for joining us on this episode of U16 Pod here. And On that note, we'll wrap it up here for everyone. Once again, just feel free to go ahead and follow us on our social medias. Feel free to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the U16pod. You can follow myself on Instagram and Twitter at cwilliams_384. You can follow Ryan on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan P. MacArthur. You can email us with any inquiries to our Gmail, the U16pod@gmail.com. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button down below. If you're listening on whatever podcast platform you listen on, feel free to hit that download and like button on there as well. We always appreciate the support there. So with that being said, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the U16 Pod. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, take care, everybody.